The Boy Who Changed the World. Leonardo da Vinci's journey in the mid-1400s. The world was trapped in darkness. There was no electricity, no engines, no flying machines, no telescopes to pierce the heavens, no microscopes to reveal the tiny world of life. People followed beliefs without proof, afraid to question what they were told. If thunder struck, people believed God was angry. If illness came, they burned herbs and prayed that evil spirits would leave the body. A simple fever could end a life because medicine was little more than superstition. Most people lived and died within a few miles of their birthplace. Why? Because travel was slow and dangerous. Roads were rough, filled with robbers and soldiers at war. There were no trains, no vehicles, only tired feet and wooden carts pulled by animals. A journey of 20 miles could take an entire day. War was constant. Kings fought over borders while peasants hid in fear. The Black Plague had recently swept across Europe, killing millions and leaving behind empty villages and silent streets. Books were so rare that even touching one was a privilege. Knowledge was guarded by priests and forbidden to common people. If someone dared to ask, why does the sky glow? Why do birds fly? What lies beneath the skin? He was mocked or punished. It was a world where belief was stronger than truth, and fear was stronger than knowledge. People accepted life as it was, because no one could imagine anything different. But during this age of fear and superstition, a single man began to see beyond the horizon. His mind lived centuries ahead of his time, imagining a future the world could not yet see. His name was Leonardo da Vinci. And while others lived in the world, he came to redesign it. This is the story of Leonardo da Vinci. Not just an artist, but the architect of imagination. Leonardo da Vinci was born on April 10th, 1452, in a small farmhouse near the village of Vinci, Italy. His father, Ser Piero da Vinci, was a respected notary, but his mother, Caterina, was a poor peasant woman. They were never married. Because of this, Leonardo was born illegitimate, which meant he could not inherit his father's position or wealth. He went to a small school where he learned to read, write, and do basic arithmetic. But he never studied Latin or Greek, the languages of scholars. The world told him, you cannot study. You cannot rise to power. But nature became his true teacher. The fields, rivers, and hills of Tuscany were his school. While other boys played games, Leonardo collected feathers, stones, shells, and animal bones, sketching them on scraps of paper. His father, Ser Piero, began to notice. Where others saw ordinary things, Leonardo saw patterns, shapes, and mysteries. He would lie in the grass, watching how birds stretched their wings. He would kneel beside streams, tracing how water swirled in circles. Everywhere he looked, he asked questions. Why do birds fly while humans cannot? Why does water move in spirals? His curiosity was relentless. He wasn't just observing nature, he was studying its secrets. As Leonardo grew, his father realized his son's gift could not remain hidden in Vinci. He gathered some of Leonardo's sketches and took his son to Florence, the beating heart of art and science. During the Renaissance, there, Ser Piero approached Andrea del Verrocchio, one of the most respected artists of the time. He showed him Leonardo's drawings and asked, "Will you take him as an apprentice?" Verrocchio examined the sketches, saw the boundless imagination, and agreed. Thus, Leonardo entered Verrocchio's workshop, a laboratory of art, engineering, and invention. Here Leonardo wasn't only taught to paint, he was trained to mix colors, sculpt clay, design machines, and even study anatomy. He absorbed it all. Soon, his talent began to shine. One day Verrocchio was painting his great work, the Baptism of Christ. He allowed Leonardo to paint one small detail, an angel at the side of the scene. When the painting was finished, the angel Leonardo painted seemed to breathe with life, glowing with a softness Verrocchio himself had never achieved. The master was so amazed by his student's talent that he reportedly put down his brush and never wished to paint again. The master realized the future now belonged to the student. From that moment, Leonardo was no longer just a curious boy from Vinci. He was a rising star of Florence. As the years passed, Leonardo's hunger for learning grew stronger. He began filling notebooks with thousands of sketches, questions, and strange inventions. Flying machines, folding bridges, armored tanks. Every idea that came into his mind, he drew. He filled his pages with tiny handwriting, written from right to left, as though reflected in a mirror. He was left-handed, and writing backward kept his hand from smudging the ink. Some believe he also wrote that way to protect his ideas in a world that often feared new knowledge. But his true obsession was understanding life itself. He dissected birds, animals, and even human bodies at a time when most people saw this as sinful. What others called gruesome, Leonardo called discovery. His notebooks filled with drawings of muscles, nerves, and bones, so precise that modern doctors still admire them today. To Leonardo, art and science were not separate. To paint a body, you had to understand it. His mind refused boundaries. By the late 1400s, Leonardo was one of the most admired artists in Italy. Every ruler wanted a painting, a design, or his advice. But he was never just a painter. He was a storyteller in color. In Milan, he began one of his greatest works, The Last Supper. It was painted on the wall of a monastery dining hall. Leonardo experimented with new materials, hoping to make the colors more vivid. The result was breathtaking. He captured the exact moment when Jesus tells his disciples, "One of you will betray me." Each face reacted differently. Shock, confusion, guilt, fear. No artist before had ever shown emotion with such realism. But his new technique didn't last. The paint began to fade and peel. Still, even in ruins, The Last Supper remained one of the most studied paintings in history. Years later, Leonardo began another masterpiece, a quiet portrait of a woman with a mysterious smile that seemed to follow you. Her name was Lisa Gherardini, the wife of a Florentine merchant. But to the world, she became simply known as Mona Lisa. To Leonardo, this was not just another portrait. It was a chance to explore the deepest mystery of all: the human smile. He studied her expressions for years, trying to capture the light of life within her eyes. He even brought musicians to play as she posed, so her smile would remain gentle and real. He worked on her for nearly 4 years, yet he never truly stopped. He carried the painting with him for more than a decade. It was the one work he could never let go of. To him, Mona Lisa was not just a woman. She was the symbol of human emotion itself. Calm yet alive, joyful yet distant, forever mysterious. As the years passed, Leonardo's restless mind could no longer be contained by Italy. In 1516, an invitation came from King Francis, the First of France, who deeply admired him. Francis offered Leonardo a home near his palace, a royal pension, and complete freedom to dream. Leonardo, now in his 60s, accepted. He crossed the Alps, carrying his notebooks, sketches, and 3 precious paintings: the Virgin and Child with Saint Anne, Saint John the Baptist, and the Mona Lisa. In France, the king treated him not as a servant, but as a friend. Cadet im. Father Leonardo visiting often to talk about art and science. Though his hand had grown weak, his mind still burned with ideas. In his notebook, he wrote, "As a well-spent day brings happy sleep, so a well-used life brings happy death." On May 2nd, 1519, Leonardo da Vinci passed away at the age of 67. He left behind more than 7,000 pages of ideas. Centuries later, his visions would come alive. Airplanes, submarines, robots, and helicopters were all first dreamed of by the man from Vinci. Today, Leonardo's genius lives on. The Mona Lisa rests in the Louvre Museum in Paris, watched by millions. The Last Supper still covers the monastery wall in Milan. There was a time when even her smile disappeared. In 1911, the Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre, vanishing for 2 years. When she was finally found and returned, her fame had grown beyond imagination. What was once a masterpiece had become a legend. Leonardo da Vinci proved that art and science are twins born from curiosity. He showed that genius is not a gift of birth, but the courage to look at the ordinary and see the extraordinary. This is the legacy of Leonardo da Vinci, the artist, the scientist, the dreamer, and the man who taught humanity to imagine. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who love history. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories of leaders, legends, and the journeys that shaped our world.